Hey everyone, we're going to take a quick break and talk about our sponsors for the month, AMP Agency. AMP is a full-service digital marketing agency that specializes in tour, rental, and destination marketing.
We would not have sponsors on the show if we could not vouch for them ourselves. AMP Agency does a bunch of stuff for Destiny Water Adventures personally. I 100% vouch for this guy. I've handed them over to other companies in the past before they officially became a sponsor, and they have had nothing but great things to say. If you guys are doing your own marketing and doing a piss poor job of it, do yourselves a favor. Hand yourselves over to AMP Agency, specifically Steve Edwards, their CEO, will call you personally and have a great conversation with you about what you guys need to do for your marketing.
Listen, guys, they do pretty much everything in digital marketing. Website development, maintenance, Google AdWords, PPC, graphic design, social media management, SEO, and a myriad of other things. When you choose a marketing company, it's so important to choose a company that knows your industry. And AMP Agency knows activity marketing, especially water sports and tours. They got a promo going for Awkward Watersport Guy listeners for their managed websites. Use promo code Awkward Podcast when you go to amp.agency. Again, that's amp.agency, promo code Awkward Podcast. You get 3 months free and get started with AMP Agency. All right, guys, let's get back to the show. Not working in the office today?
No, I'm doing I'm doing the 75 hard challenge. Are you familiar with that?
You did it before.
Yeah, I did it before, and then I failed out because of my heart attack. That's not true. I did something. I didn't take a picture or read my 10 pages or whatever it was, but I like it because it gives you a set of like non-negotiables. And I think like, especially in slow season, you kind of get bored or hammered down on all these like little tiny projects. I mean, stuff that's important, don't get me wrong, but I also like the idea of having, it gets me back in the gym mode, which I've sort of been floundering on. So
have you ever tried 1 hour hard?
1 hour, one day hard.
1 day hard. Have you tried that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I do one. I've done that a lot of times. A 1 day hard, one hard. I've done that way too many times. So yeah. So what happens is like by the time I get all of my little rugrats off to school, and like if I'm not up at like 5 a.m. to hit that first gym, then I have to hit the first gym at like 12 or 11 or something like that, and then it's like the second workout happened at 5, and I just like. I want to get them done, man. I'll get one done at like 7 and get one done at 1. So right now, while we're slow, it just affords me, I can dilly-dally around my,
Yeah, I stopped working out and all my back problems came back. So
yeah, shit's important, dude. All those strengthening muscles, man. It's weak back. That's like, my buddy Alphonse, my partner Alphonse, man, he has it all the time.
Yeah, so I learned my lesson. I'm starting back up next week.
What gym are you going to?
My office gym. I have a little gym with some dumbbells.
I've seen that. I thought you said you were going to work out.
Yeah, it is my workout.
What's your heaviest barbell or your heaviest dumbbell in there? 15
It's 50.
Pounds.
It's 50.
That's all you need, man. I mean, you got a bench in there too, right?
Got a bench and a rowing machine.
You can get a great workout with a set of bands, man. Like those rubber elastic bands. Like I do those all the time.
That's all I need.
Yeah, see right there. That's rubber bands right there. Try your triceps, man. I'll do tricep push downs with those things like all day long, man. Those rubber bands, that's great. That's all you need,
So what's new with your business?
It's January, so we're just hemorrhaging money. Everybody's bored. All the legislators are bored. Like, we need something to do with January. All the insurance companies are bored. They're like, how do we spin up a new product to fucking make money off these guys, They love to lay the hammer down at the worst possible time with this shit, I love it.
I hate off season.
Yeah,
There's probably multiple podcasts where we talk about how much we hate January.
We just complain. I'll just listen to any episodes that occurred from like November to March, and it's just all bitching about season. I talk to Steve all the time. He never understands, or any people I talk to this time of year, they never understand like why I'm in a bad mood. Like you're always mad. I'm like, because the only month I'm happy is July. Call me in July. I'm the happiest guy on the planet. Mid-June, end of July, there's 6 weeks where I'm like all smiles. Well, we should start a laundromat.
Should.
And we'll fire up a laundromat and a franchise of laundromats and just call it Moving On Up. You want to do it? Should we buy a laundromat? You want to go in half season on a laundromat? It's only, I was going to say it's only $200,000. I just got like $200,000 laying around, but it really is only $200,000.
I don't know.
Let's do it. Come on, man. Imagine all the buckets full of change. Imagine we could just take those quarters, roll over to Biloxi, put them in some slots.
Slots don't even take quarters anymore.
I wouldn't even know, man. Yeah, so let's do it, man. I need like a year-round hustle, man. We got like investments and stuff like that, and I like tried to spin up some new stuff, like hoping, but it's like my ads for the bounce are just like so annoying, man. Because right now it's just like, hey, I left a pair of pants at your place. I'm like, wrong Big Kev, Hey, I'm looking. Oh God, what is it? I'm checking in on my application. I'm like, it's just me. You didn't put any application in with me. So it's just like nice, like wasted ad spend, Then I wonder like what my boats and my cars and stuff are doing, Are people just calling up like needed like an oil change or something? So, how about you, man? What are you doing?
Just trying to get a lot of things done, a lot of critical things done. So I think at the last show we were talking at WaveRes, we were integrating with Viator. We should have done this years ago, but our client base on WaveRes doesn't use OTAs a lot, other than TripShock. So we never really had the need to integrate with other OTAs, but we're making that happen. We got a new booking portal rolling out here in the next month. So a lot of big things we've worked through 2023 on that are getting launched right before the season. So pretty excited about that.
Come on, man. Get that integration going, bro. I'm not trying to wait till fall to partner with you, man. I don't know if that's just news or we're leaving Fair Harbor, man. We're coming over to WaveRes, but we got to get them OTA integrations.
Got to get them all done. Yeah, but we are actually putting a huge amount of investment back into WaveRes this year. I'm most excited about. And we want to be the biggest water sport reservation software, but there's some pretty critical things that we need to reach that level, and we're going to bring in some more resources. So pretty excited about that. And TripShock, we're just getting everybody ready for the season. One of the things that sucks with an OTA is getting everyone's rates early. Usually we get everyone's rates like a week before they open. But I'll tell you, if you want to get a lot of bookings from OTAs in the off season, get your rates early. Send your rate sheets in, be done with it. Load them up. If you have to make adjustments, and make adjustments, but get rates in early. I've seen a couple companies get a handful of bookings already.
Yeah, so what was on so we did a post in the group, in our Facebook group, and you guys, if you're listening to this, you should come join. What's that mouthful of a name of our group? Boat Tour Operators and Professionals, presented by AWG. Anyway, yeah, if you're not in the group, or if you got people in the industry in the group, join the group, guys. It's water sport.
No, water sport and boat tour operators.
Maybe we should name it something more snappy, dude. Can we rename it again? Can we rebrand? That is such a mouthful. Like we talk about marketing so much, but yeah, join the group and join the discussion. We got some pretty active participants in there, and a lot of people asking questions and talking about cool new products. And it's like stuff, it's like, contrary to popular belief, Greg and I aren't just sitting around, thinking about the water sport tour industry at large.
There's a lot of great discussion. And it's always after the holidays, everyone starts getting excited about opening back up for the season. And there's been a lot of great discussion. I like that hot tub boat. You like that hot tub boat?
I do too. I thought it was kind of neat, man. The group kind of
They
Gave it a
poo-pooed.
little bit.
Yeah, they poo-pooed on it. But,
I shit on it too just a little bit, but I'm just on the area, you know what I mean? I'd be like, yo, I got hot tub boats in Detroit. Like, they just had like 1.5 feet of snow. So anyway, we posted a few weeks back about like, hey, what do you guys want to talk about? And a few guys posted a couple different topics, so we figured we'd zero in on a couple of those topics today. Some of it's stuff I imagine we've covered in every episode, like add details. So this is just going to be kind of like a quick and dirty, like A, B, and C. Here's some things you can do right now.
some of you probably are going to be starting new companies this year, or maybe you're going to be looking at partnering with existing businesses. And the question was, what is your advice on approaching lenders and also approaching potential partnerships?
Yeah, it wasn't one of the usual suspects, and I think somebody responded like, "Oh, local lenders don't mess with it," and I don't know, maybe that's in your local market or your bank in particular. It's been my experience that our local bank gives us loans for equipment purchases. You have LOC for equipment purchases. And Greg, you unless you know different, I'm not a financial advisor by any stretch of the imagination, but if you have a profit and loss sheet that shows that you can afford to borrow money for equipment, and you have, I'm sure they have some type of liquidity measurement that they want to see in your bank account, and they're going to want to see your cash, your monthly cash flow, balance statements, P&L, all of those things. They absolutely will loan you money for equipment. And it doesn't, that could be heavy equipment. That could be a semi truck. It could be a boat. It could be a jet ski. We have borrowed money from our local lenders to purchase everything and anything. So we have an existing line of credit where if I wanted to go put 5 boats on that line of credit, that would be no problem. They wouldn't care. They wouldn't need anything other than hull insurance. And if you have the financial metrics to show that that's a good investment, they 100% will loan you the money on that.
The question was asked by Jason Swain, so I just want to give a shout out to Jason. What I think is, if you are a new business and you don't have any collateral, then you're probably going to have more challenges than someone that's like Kevin has existing. You're right, Kevin. If you have the P&Ls to prove it, you can go to pretty much any local lender and get a loan to purchase equipment. Just the folks that I deal with, like, they wouldn't even question, especially if you have results, proven results that if you buy, so much, you can collateralize what you currently have. Don't be afraid to collateralize your home or personal assets. They're going to ask for that. But if you're a new business and you get turned down, go to every single local bank, because they want to build a relationship with you. And sometimes they have to load it in on the front end, meaning that they know they're going to have to give up a little bit in the beginning to get your business. But if you're still unsuccessful on it, you may go against me here, Kevin, but used equipment is a lot cheaper and more in your budget, then that's also an option.
Are you tired of spending countless hours managing your water sport and boat rental reservations manually? Is your current system outdated or doesn't provide the necessary features that your business requires? Hi, I'm Greg Fisher, the CEO of WaveRes, an online reservation software built by operators for operators. With our system, you can offer 24/7 online booking to your customers, allowing them to book and pay for their rentals at their convenience. You can also send SMS notifications to your customers, keeping them updated on their reservation status and any changes that may occur. Custom options and dynamic pricing enable you to offer tailored packages to your customers, helping you stand out from your competitor. Plus, our system integrates with companies like Werewolf Digital Waivers and TripShock, streamlining your operations and ensuring a seamless booking experience for your customers. Our software is the best choice for water sport and boat tour operators, as it is designed to cater specifically to your needs. So why waste any more time on manual reservation management? Try WaveRes today and take your business to the next level. For a limited time, mention this ad and receive a $100 credit when you sign up. Check out waveres.com for more info or to schedule a free demo. Now let's get back to the show.
Or you just go finance that shit personally, dog. You get your general, I mean, because your general liability doesn't give a shit. It's your whole insurance, right? And so you're technically breaking the deal that you have with your insurance company when you go buy a personal boat and then run it commercially. They absolutely don't want you doing that. But I mean, that's how we made our bones, man. Like, and a lot of operators I know when they first got started. And you go to a dealership and they would put in with 2 different lenders for 2 different boats at the same time. Because if you go to a lender, the same lender, and you're like, I want to buy 4 boats. Like, well, I mean, what are you going to do with those boats, DJ Khaled? You know, why do you need 4 boats, my man? You know, so the way we did it in the past was we would go in and we would buy 2 boats. And then when season would hit, we'd make some money. We'd pay those boats off. You have an incredibly low payment because it's usually on a recreational vehicle. So it's 15 or 20 years. And, you know, when cash is strapped, you got to, like, get creative, you know. And again, I'm not telling you to go out there and, you know, break the contract that you have with your insurance. I mean, if they ask you who told you to go do it, it wasn't me. But, I mean, if I got to get equipment, I'm cash strapped. Like, I want to go do that shit, you know. Like, I was
Do you finance your boats directly with the manufacturer or the dealer, or do you do it with the bank, or both?
I've done it with both. You know, I've not gone through and done like Yamaha's, you know what I mean, like finance program. We could, but at that time I knew we were going to pay them off pretty quick. I just didn't want to it was beginning of season, you know, cash is already tight, so I didn't want to deplete our resources, and we just went and financed it. And then when money started coming through, we paid it off, you know, relatively low amount of interest involved, and done and done. But if you're just getting started, yeah, man. I mean, you can go finance that. You can go, because the commercial nut is going to be so much heavier. You know, you're on a 3 or 5 year loan. You know, that payment's going to be through the roof, and then the commercial hull insurance is through the roof. You know, if you're buying it on your personal, you know, and I mean, on boats, you can definitely, especially in this market right now, find good used equipment on the cheap, because the recreational vehicle, boats, all of that is through the floor right now. But the problem is that, like, you know, you're not catching like hella great deals from dealerships, because they have a floor plan and they've already purchased those boats, whatever they're going to purchase them for. So, I mean, I know dealers are losing money on boats right now because they're paying interest on their floor plan. So they're trying to limit their liabilities. But that being said, you know, because those new boat prices are going down, the used market is following in kind. So the recreational vehicle market right now, it's a great time to probably get into something used or new. You know what I mean? You can really, beat them up, man.
Here's another idea too. So there's 2 options. So you have a home and you have equity. You could get a HELOC and use that money for just capital expenses, purchasing equipment. Because if you're in markets similar to Northwest Florida or you're seasonal, you're not making any money right now, but come March and April, everything's going to change. Your cash flow will just go through the roof, and you'll be able to pay, you know, for that equipment pretty soon. So don't be afraid to do that. I mean, you're a business person. You need to take risk regardless, and that might be some of the requirements. Another idea is, you know, you might be in a position where you can get a high credit card limit. I mean, if you open up a credit card, they give you $30,000. Yes, the interest rates are high, but if you could buy a handful of skis or some paddle boards, whatever you need to scale your fleet, you're not going to be paying 20% interest on it for a year. You might pay 20% interest for 3 months until we get in the summer. You might even pay off most of that equipment by the time you even get to the summer. But if you need equipment and you can't wait until the season, then there are things to do. Just don't think about the interest cost as much as what the opportunity is. If the opportunity is greater than what the interest would be, then it makes sense to get a HELOC or a credit card, raise capital, and be prepared. So, I mean, I do stuff like that all the time in the off season to raise my credit, available credit, to take advantage of opportunities.
Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, go to see your local lender if you're just getting started out. I mean, I financed my first boat, multiple boats personally, kept my payments low, ran the insurance, got my general liability. If your insurance company finds out you're running commercial, they're gonna probably cancel your policy.
Yeah. Just because your lender says no to you doesn't mean another one will. And you're more likely to have success going to a more regional bank, not a Bank of America or Wells Fargo. If you need a good recommendation for someone in Northwest Florida, then give us a shout, because we'll hook you up with somebody that understands the business.
What was the next question? What was the next one we had on the agenda?
One of them, that was a two-part question, was approaching potential partnerships.
Ugh. What kind of partnerships? Like equity?
Well, we can go in both ways. I mean, we can talk about partners as in someone helping you grow your business or booking business, or we can say partners as someone actually helping you scale your business.
Yeah, I mean, you talk to 10 different guys that run 10 different businesses, you're probably going to get 10 different answers on partners. I mean, if you need the money and you want to go large, get a partner. If you're sitting there and listening to this and you're like, man, I want to start up a boat rental or a charter boat business or whatever, like, I mean, charter boats are obviously a little different from rental depending on your area, but, you know, like this is business.
Well, yeah. Kevin, why don't you tell about your story? Because you have partners.
Yeah.
And why you decided, because I think I'll give my point of view, and then my story, you give yours, because I think you're right. It's good. You're going to get 10 different answers around partnerships. So we'll give our experiences, and then our listeners can decide kind of how.
Yeah. So it just all depends on what you're trying to do. If you want to have a charter business and you want to make $60,000 a year, you want to make side money or something like that, have a couple boats, or you're going to run a parasail boat or a head boat, and you're not in a marina that's like, we want you to bring in everything under the sun and to start this, like if this is just like a side hustle or something like that, I would recommend against partners. Like being a business partner, two guys on a boat, maybe it's a captain and a mate or two captains. It's incredibly difficult, because you're sharing in the workload, and then you're sharing in it's tough. If you're trying to scale, if you're like, oh man, I'm going to start over, San Francisco's biggest water sport company, I don't know, whatever, Texas, whatever it may be. And you have all these available slips, and you have a completely blue ocean, meaning you have no competitors, or you have a purple ocean, you have some competitors, but there's room for another player to come in and drive growth. If this is something that you truly believe can scale to $3, $4, or $5 million, partners are great. You know what I mean? I love it. If they're going to share in the workload, if they are adherent to your vision, but just keep in mind when you have a partnership that you've got to be of two separate mindsets, right? Gino Wickman writes about this, and he talks about visionaries versus implementers. You got the guy that's got the vision, and then has the guy that's going to implement the vision, and they're not going to get in each other's way. That's usually the biggest problem with most partnerships, is that both of them see each other as the visionary. And you have to have somebody that's going to be great with the day-to-day management, finances, spreadsheets, and then you got the dreamer who's like, my shit's all in like a big giant mess, and I need you to take that mess and drive it home. And so they're both extremely important. And one, you know what I mean? It's hard for a single person, especially in this business, especially if you're scaling, to drive that vision home. So you always see, even guys that don't have business partners, they have somebody that has a dog in the fight, whether that might be some type of equity partner or percentage based or whatever it may be. You are not going to work in this business 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and grind and grind and grind. You're going to get burnt out, and it's going to fall off the rails. Like the things that seemed really cool in the beginning are now just a tedious monotony, and it becomes a job. So you have to make sure that those lines are divided pretty clearly, and everybody has their marching orders insofar as that. At least as it's been my experience so far.
Yeah, I think that's the secret sauce with Destiny, is that you have such a good structure with your team where you are the visionary, Ilya is the implementer, and then you have, a great supporting cast to handle all the responsibilities, and no one's getting in each other's way. And a lot of times with partnerships, they fail because they get into it because they're friends and they're excited, but they really haven't sat down and discussed who's the visionary, who's the implementer, who's this, who's that. And we find out soon that you have two different ideas of what they want the business to be. It's kind of like with couples. They're great before they have kids, and then when they have kids, and then they want different things. So you want to understand is that when you and your partnership have your first breakthrough, will that change the course of your direction? Because you guys might be fine now with 10 boats, but once that business scales to 20 boats and you add a private charter, like, where do you see it? And that's a question you have to constantly ask yourselves as partners. And that's something that, Alex is my business partner. We constantly ask ourselves when we do something new, is that our vision and our missions are aligned? Because when they start not aligning, then we're going to have problems. I have a very similar relationship that Kevin does with Ilya, with Alex, is that he's the implementer and I'm more the visionary. And we don't get in each other way. We never, for 15 years, we've always stayed separate, and it worked out great. So you just got to make sure that, when things grow, that the mission and vision is still aligned, and that's where I think things go wrong.
Yeah. So, we've been incredibly fortunate. There was a while, and if anything, like, I probably get in the way, and so this is sort of a problem too. It's like, if you guys start off and you're there, like, my guys were far away; they had nothing to do with it. So I was visionary and implementer, and I started getting burned out, you know what I mean? And it wasn't even like, oh man, I was partnered on my, taking my money and everything like that. I'm not that guy. I'm not. Like, and I don't think most of us are. I think most of you, if you get in this business, is very passion driven. And so nobody's like rolling in with the idea that they're going to be, business savants or getting MBAs or whatever it is, you know what I mean? So this is a very unique industry. If you got like a family member or somebody like that who's like, yeah, I'll throw you some money and I don't care and I don't want to be involved in it. My advice to you is to hold on to as much equity as humanly possible. If it's something where you can put together a business plan and show it an ROI for them in a reasonable amount of time, whatever it may be. If somebody gives you 50 grand or 20 grand or something like that, and you can go, hey, in 3 years, you're going to get back 40 grand, or you're going to get back 50 grand. And, maybe recurring whatever your net profit is, and you're going to see this amount of money, X, Y, and Z. So you're going to get your money back here, and then you're going to get return on that money forever in perpetuity. And it's just napkin math. You do some simple napkin math and you figure out something that makes sense. What you don't want to do is give them a bunch of equity away off the rip for a little bit of money.
What are your thoughts on taking money from friends and family for your business, or accepting it when they
100%. So many large-scale businesses have been funded that way. What do they call it? They call it the FF&F loan, friends, family, and something or another. But a lot of businesses have. Jeff Bezos started Amazon on a $300,000 loan from, his parents. Donald Trump, $1 million loan from his dad. So I think that I mean, family's family, right? Like you're never going to, friends are probably a little bit different, but family's family. Like, sure, it's just all what the vision is, what the intent is. If everybody's fucking, wringing their dirty hands and we're gonna get rich, it's like you start having that conversation. I think that muddies the waters a little bit. You're buying into real estate, you're buying into some type of commodity, and there's a big. I got a buddy, man, who'll call me and he'll have some of the most like crazy lopsided deals. I found a house and I just need you to put up all the money, and then it'll be 75-25, and I'm like, for who? 75 for you, 25 for me. Like you get a finder's fee. You know what I mean? Like those kind of things are a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I found a really cool investment. We're going to do it, and everybody's going to get stinking rich. And then it just comes down to the numbers. With something like this, a friend or family member that's going to loan you money or invest money in your business, in your water sport business, is probably more than likely because they see a dream that you're trying to follow. I'm not talking about these fucking real estate developers that come in with $100 million or whatever they got in their pockets and, fire up businesses. That's a much different thing. Those guys more than likely aren't reaching out to their dad, maybe one or two I've heard. But other than that, that's going to be a straight business deal with a lot of upfront capital. If you're talking about buying a business worth, you see something pops up on Biz Buy Sell, and it's like $1.5 million or $2 million, and you're buying a marina, and it's a complicated deal. That's a little bit different. When you're firing up like a family-run business or a owner-operator-run business, and you don't have the cash to fund your dream, and somebody does, then I don't know what the value of that is to you.
I will say I have some advice on taking money from family or accepting loans. One, I've taken money from my dad probably 4 or 5 times throughout my time at Trip Shock, for personal things, for the business. And one thing that I will say is that if you accept money from a family member, regardless of what they tell you, pay them back, and pay them back with interest. Because you never want them to hold that against you later in life. Because if you pay them back with interest and they come back later, hey, I remember when I helped you. Yeah, you helped me and you made money on it. It's a done deal. You don't want to just open yourself up, because you just never know what could happen with that family relationship. And you want to know that it is, whatever deal you did with them, it was fair. They made something out of it. You made them whole, and it was done. Also, when you take money from family, have a plan to pay it back. If you're in a tough spot and you're just like, shit, I need $100,000 to keep us going. If you know that money is not going to keep you going, don't ask for it. Because that is going to cause, and I see this happen all the time, and they know they're not going to make it, but they need the money to make the next rent check, and there is no plan of surviving. It's just, I need the money to keep going to the next year, and that's just going to cause a lot of problems down the road, hurt family relationships. But I've had a lot of success, and like Kevin said, a lot of companies are founded from family and friends investments, and there's nothing wrong with going that route, especially if lenders turn you down. But I highly recommend to have a plan, make sure they're paid, never accept from them at any circumstance. Just keep the money without there being a plan to pay it back. Some of your family will do that. Oh, here's $100,000. Don't worry about it. Just when you can pay it back. No, have a contract, have a note, make payments to them, do it right. Can't stress that enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, and as Greg says, if you can do it in a loan type of situation, it's the best, easiest way moving forward. Because you don't want to have that conversation later down the line, right? Like, I want to buy you out, and like, here, I'm going to give you double your money, and that's a great, So, yeah, if somebody, it's like somebody wants to give you money, take it. just make sure you know what the stipulations are. I love money. Money's great. What's the next one? What else is on these salty people's minds?
Some brain busters. Let me see. Something to kind of get your blood boiling.
Get me mad.
Insurance?
Ugh.
No, we're not going to talk about insurance today.
No, thank you.
We are not going to talk about insurance today.
Sean had one, didn't he? Sean Walsh, didn't he have something on?
Sean Walsh, what are the main things? This is a good one. What are the main things that need to be in place for an owner to step away from the day-to-day operations?
10 more years in the game, bitch. Yeah, sorry, I had a call come through, bumped into my computer. Yeah, man. That's a tough one, man. It's like in the years I've been in business, I've been able to step away. I've been able to step back from the day to day. Again, I've got equity partners in place that are making sure everything gets run. If you have a family member, a next of, kin, so to speak, in the business life that you're like, oh man, I'm going to bring my son or daughter on and they're going to run it like it is their own. That certainly helps. I think even Sean mentioned something about like SOP not too long ago. And that's really sort of the best way forward. If you're not going to be there, then you have to have everything down to, how you clean the boats, cataloged somewhere, maybe in a Google Doc, maybe in a Loom video of some sort, some type of training in place, or your standard operating procedure that you say, like, this is how this goes. This is how you solve for every eventuality. And it's people. It's training your people really well. Do you have a team in place? The thing about it is that if you're in business and you're in your third year, it's like you're still trying to figure it out, like realistically. Don't get me wrong. It's not, some of this stuff isn't rocket science, but for complex charters and things like that, and if you've just scaled to a head boat and you have multiple different offerings and partnerships and res tech, there's a whole lot of things safety, insurance, a whole lot of things that get put into place that you want to make sure that, and again, because this stuff is going to evolve without you then, things are going to start happening that you don't know or that you don't understand. And your team is going to take SOP for what you've written and changed it based on the variables and the KPIs that are changing with your business from year to year. So like, I don't know, what's SOP on, new ridiculous laws that get into place. You know what I mean? Like, it's if stepping away from the day to day and being an absentee business owner, like a lot of times those things start to coalesce. When you start to step away from the day to day, this starts to be where you evolve into an absentee business owner and your business runs itself. And, you have all these sort of levers that you have in place. And it just, I am always a more safe than sorry kind of guy. I've seen guys come into this business and step away year 2, year 3. And it's like, you don't even know what you're doing yet. Like, I can see it.
Yeah, but even more than that, though, and I agree with everything you said, the step away from your business has to be financially sound, and even in order to do so. So the first thing is, can your business afford for you to step away? And I would answer that before moving forward with anything else. If it can afford for you to step away, then you have to decide on how much money do you have to make to feel whole. Because if you have to step away, that means you have to delegate to more people, meaning you might have to hire a manager under you. And you might be able to do that and still make $100,000 a year and only have to be there half the time or make bigger decisions. So I think you have to just look at your numbers and look at what it would cost to delegate things. And if those numbers make sense and you're satisfied with that, then you can look at SOPs and all the other things that kind of have to go with it. but you have to make sure the numbers work and if you're satisfied with it. I mean, Kevin, when you started stepping away, I'm sure the financial end of it was important, right? Like, are you able to delegate still?
I still get in the way of everybody who implements shit for me. I'm still bad about, being that visionary that gets into, some of these things because they're rookies too. This is not like some of these guys ran these businesses for 10, 15 years before they started to step away. And they didn't even want to step away. They were still involved in some of the day-to-day stuff, which I don't think is good either. You know what I mean? Like, if you're running something at scale, like, you don't know everything that's going on. You know what I mean? You can be down at the docks, but you're not going to be at the yard. You can be stuck in your computer looking at your marketing, but you're not at the docks. Like, you miss the things that the people that are truly down there, and that the people that you're putting in charge of something are going through on a day-to-day basis. And as these sort of developments happen, they become better equipped to deal with these day-to-day solutions that you're, and then there's still guys that are like, you got a guy calling them. It's like, well, what should we do about this? And it's like, well, they're sitting in an office. You probably know better than I do. So why don't you write down what it is that you do all day long and what your systems and processes look like. And then you can audit that as an operator and go back and say, like, well, why are we doing this, right? It never wants to be a one-sided conversation where you're like, I don't like this. It needs to be more open-ended and communicative. Well, why are we doing this? Why have we changed this? I'm not down there every day. You're down there every day. So why do you like this instead of doing it like this, right? And so you present other solutions on the other side of that.
Mm-hmm. I'm also a big believer in delegating bits and pieces at a time. So if your ultimate goal is to be just a decision maker and a shareholder, then maybe you start off by delegating like the dockhand stuff to somebody, and they're manage the dock, so you don't have to deal with that. And then you start delegating like your book, maybe outsource your bookkeeping. So you take bits and pieces. And this is exactly what I did with TripShock. TripShock started out as a very small company with a few people. And I did customer service for like the first 6 years. I mean, answered phones, everything. And I delegated that to Sarah. Then marketing, I delegated that to Stephanie, Dan, and Mike. So I just slowly started giving away the task so I can work on the business instead of in the business. But it wasn't something that happened in a course of 3 years or even 10 years. It's 15 years. So if you're thinking that you're going to just start delegating things and working out, outside your business in 1-2 years, I think that that's not enough time unless you've been in the business a long time and you know how this works. But it's just something that you slowly chip away at. You start delegating things here and there until you probably won't even realize when you're in that position. Like, oh my God, like I can actually just make decisions and really focus on scaling the business without having to get stuck in all these small tasks. So that's kind of how I feel right now, is that I am in a place where I can, work on growing it and not on dealing with all the little things that come with it. So.
Yeah. So, I think that's a wrap, man. I think there's like 3 solid topics there we covered, and I hope that answers your guys, your questions. As always, if you have more questions or you want to discuss these things further, head on over to Watersport.
Facebook Watersport and Boat Tour Operators. I just said it for you. By AWG.
Yeah, and again, like and subscribe and review us, right? Like do normal things that podcasters ask you to do. So I think that's it. Thanks guys for listening. As always, keep it awkward.
Keep it awkward.